Ngicabanga ukuthi ke ngeke sisapholisa amaseko sizoqala nje siqhubeka nodaba lwethu laba bonke abangenayo besicela nje ukuthi banciphise mhlawumbe noma bavale okusamsinjwana ngoba kuyezwakala lokho okukhalayo ngapha. Namhlanje sihlangene ngendaba enkulu kakhulu lapho sithi khona asikhulume webinar. Asikhulume webinar itopic yethu noma mhlawumbe ihloko sethokuqala lesi sisidinga idawo namhlanje lapho ezama ukubheka khona ukuthi iziphi indlela osomabhizinisi abangazama ukuthi bakhulise ngazo indlela zokuthola imali mhlawumbe yoku-raise i-capital noma yokuthola imali yokuqala ibhizinisi. So namhlanje siyajabula kakhulu ukuthi sibe nomfowethu la insizwe engiyazi kakhulu uWandile Goliath. Wandi ukhona singakuzwa ivoice yakho
noma yebo sabona baba Ntshangasi.
Yebo baba
siyabongelelana kubo bonke.
Siyajabula baba uGoliath ukuthi ube nathi namhlanje. Siyabona abanye basangena nje basaqhamuka emsebenzini siyazi abaningi bayasebenza abanye basavala izitolo abanye basavala amabhizinisi abo. So lokho nje sibavumele ukuthi bengene ngamunye eze sikwazi ukuqhubeka nenkulumo kodwa ngeke sibalinde ngoba phela yonke into yenzeka ngesikhathi. Ubaba uWandi naye njengomuntu wasemabhizinisi nje kuningi afuneka kwenza kodwa ngicabanga ukuthi mhlambe kuze singachithi isikhathi ake ngiqale nje ukuthi ngimethule ubaba uWandi ngokusemthethweni ukuthi ubani lensizwe esinayo namhlanje iqhamukapi inamaphi amangwevu insizwa yase Eastern Cape pha ekoloni ukuthi kuyasiza ukuthi izosiza kanjani namhlanje kule ngxoxo yethu. So just nje ukuthi indoda sibingelele kahle nizobona nani lapho nihlezi emakhaya ukuthi lensizwa insizwa esihambe kakhulu ngohambe iphuma lapha eTinaga ngokuzalwa lensizwa eEastern Cape. Into enhle kakhulu ukuthi ke uma uthula umuntu emazweni aphesheya noma uhambeni ufuna ukumthule ngokuphelele ukuthi insizwe ezalele eTinaga eEastern Cape Province eSouth Africa singasabi ukulibiza izwe lethu South Africa ngokuphelele. Yafunda ke lensizwa niyabona ukuthi ifundile lapha eRhodes eUniversity ifunde ethe ukuphakama mayelana nezomnotho. Into enhle futhi lensizwa ukuthi sisebenze kakhulu ukuthi ulwazi lwayo elifundile neliqoqile isebenza isilikwazile ukuthi ilifake encwadini. Incwadi edayise kahle kakhulu ebizwa kuthiwa 10 your monthly expenses into monthly income. Sayibona nansi incwadi vela lapha isakhona ke ezitolo lencwadi yadayisa namanje oyidinga nje ngayithola nje ukuze mhlambe naye athola ulwazi aphinde acoshe futhi kulokhu insizwa kaGoliath esikwazile ukuthi kuhlanganise empilweni yayo. Lensizwa futhi isebenze kakhulu ezinkampanini ezinkulu njengesikhulu mhlambe nenye imanager ezingene eliphezulu. Sayibona izinkampani esizaziyo lapho Unitrans, Cash Build, All Mutual madoda. Hawu lensizwa isebenze SAB, Coca-Cola, hawu angazi insizwa kuba lapho engasebenzanga khona nakwi-insurance kanjalo. Just nje ukubala nje sikukhele phezulu lensizwa isuka. Lensizwa futhi isebenze kakhulu ekwakheni amabhizinisi ayo lensizwa njengaleli nje lama-casket lakhile lensizwa leli bhizinisi yasiphinde yadlulisa futhi yalidayisa leli bhizinisi emva kweminyaka emithathu. Isebenze kakhulu ke lensizwa nabantu. Yabona masikhuluma nabantu ke lensizwa ke isebenza kakhulu nabantu kumkhakheni we-network marketing lapho khona ibekwazi ukuthi iyakhe ama-distribution channels amakhulu namaningi i-Afrika yonke jikelele. Izokuthi futhi ukuthi fahla isitshele mhlambe ngokuthi umsebenzi wayo wenzayo manje kule nkampani yayo enkulukazi ebizwa kuthiwa i-Emrys International yenzani lensizwa kahle ngoba phela funeke siyazi lensizwa ukuthi masikhuluma nayo sithi sizizwa kahle ukuthi sibekelane sinikane kulomkhakha esikhuluma ngalo namhlanje sithola kahle ukuthi cha insizwa le mpela esuthi insizwa futhi le nolwazi olunzulu insizwa futhi lezokwazi ukuthi sikhulise isicathulise la eZooks Network ngoba la eZooks Network si committed noma mhlambe sibophezelene ekuthenini sikwazi ukusiza abantu nxa zonke ukuthi bakwazi ukusizakala mayelana nolwazi lwamabhizinisi. So ngaphandle ukuthi ngichithe isikhathi ke baba uWandi ngizonikezela kuwe ithuba lokuthi iscreen sakho mhlawumbe lesi ozosinikeza sona sepresentation usiveze. Mosenza kanjalo ungabe nje uqhubeka mhlawumbe usichazele ukuthi kumanje lapho sebenzela khona nalapho sebenza khona kuhamba kanjani nokuthi mhlawumbe yini mhlawumbe esingayizuza njengoba ngokwazi mayelana nemikhakha yemisebenzi eminingi osuthe ukuyisebenza lapho khona insizwa kaGoliath wathi-ke ngithathe intambo ngiyiphose kuwe bese ngiyakuvumela ukuthi ukwazi-ke nawe ukuthi ufake esakho kwi-slide sisibone.
Oh, ngiyabonga sobethu, ngiyabonga babuntshangazi. Ngiyalibonga kakhulu elithuba onginikeze lona. Ngithanda ukubingelela nabo bonke abajoyinileyo la kule webinar. Okwamanje into engibhizi ngayo ngi-approachwe inkampani, an international company that has just opened in 2019 simultaneously in New York, not in New York, in Miami, Nase, Sandton and Cape Town. This company is born by a vision of an African American who his name is Matthew Harris and Eileen Harris. They founded a company called Emrys International. He's this young man who I know him for a long time. Ubaba wakhe was a Black American in our missionary school. As osifundisa iBhayibheli. So he was a Bible teacher, and Matthew was a young man a young boy at the time, goes to high school. And then in 2000, that family went back to the United States. He worked there and became a top distributor in the US and many other companies. Wabona ukuthi companies eziningi ezilethwa la eSouth Africa ziyenza iSouth Africa ibe number 2 okanye number last. Asikho tina by companies that come from Asia, companies that come from Europe and the US, tina were only distributors and consumers of their products. We do not take part into the entire value chain. Akukho's products as producer lana zisuke zihambe ziye overseas. Tina, we're always receiving and we're taking our money and our money goes back. So Emrys International, it says, let's change that. Kube, the company based last Africa must have a seat at the table from day one, and some of the products must be manufactured here and sent across the globe. So it's a global company, and that appointment just happened at the beginning of this month as an executive sales director initially for South Africa. The role is going to be expanded to be a vice president for Africa, basically. The company is here in South Africa. It is in Puerto Rico. It is the United States. It's in Ghana and Nigeria. Sizobeke siyenza nama Zoom meetings and a whole lot of things. Ukuthi senze le company yaziwe ngabantu eSouth Africa ngoba ize ngohlobo oluhlukileyo, ayizange ukuthi ngifuna nina nisebenze, ithi ngifuna nisebenze, ngifuna also you must take part in the ownership. And that is the reason why I decided to agree when they asked me. In fact, I had in the book that you just mentioned, Babunchangas, I had in chapter 10 of the book, I made a comment or a call and said, companies ezibuya overseas asinankinga nazo, but nathi sinazo ama products la. We have great entrepreneurs, with people with ideas, with agricultural products. We can do all sorts of things. I am asking a question in the book in chapter 10, this book was published in 2015. Questioning ibuza, why must we grow alu in South Africa? And alu singai daisi for every people outside of South Africa. Instead, we're importing alu from somewhere in America or anywhere. We are growing beans somewhere in Africa, coffee beans, but we import products that have coffee that is grown here, and many other things as SNAS. So that economics to change and needs to change in favor of Africans. Ngoba, we have not been at the seat of the table. We've always been reduced to crumbs right below the table. So manje, Emrys International is a company it is okushintsha logo, and my job as an executive sales director ukuqoqa all the leaders that have been in this industry, even other people who are new, who want to come in and understand, and that is basically what we are doing at Emrys International. Uqhubekela phambili ke with your permission.
Saqhubeka baba yebo.
With your permission, you asked me to talk about another subject that is close to my heart. Ngoba many people badinga imali bafuna uqala amabhizinisi wabo. Inkinga yabo kakhulu ukuthi abayitholi imali yokuthi bawaqale lamabhizinisi ngoba ibank asivumi, still ibanks zisa-operate ngomhlobo mdala. A friend of mine uthi kumi the other day, I have a printing company ulana eFosloras, siseGoli where I am based. Uthi ni printing company. Ngiye bank the other day, ngiyababonisa i-stats sami ngithe ngifuna ukuthenga umshini ozokwenza ngiprinte faster, ngenze a lot of things ngalo mshini izochintsha i-income yami izokhuphuka. Ngiyocela ibank 400,000 ukuthi ngithenge lo mshini. Uthi ibank yabuya kimi yanqaba yathi cha asizukunikeza le 400,000. Akayazi ukuthi bekwenze njani ukuze bangamnikezi le 400,000. So I decided ukuthi okay, no kulungile ke. Uthi 2 months down the line uye ku same bank ufika khona ucela ukwenza i-credit uzothenga imoto ye 400,000. Ibank approve i-loan yemoto. Webona into enjalo. Which means that you do not really understand what is the agenda of the banking system in South Africa. Is it about emancipation of Black people, or is it about continuation or subjecting Black people to be forever consumers, forever indebted? Because a loan against your car is not as important as a loan that will make you profitable in your endeavor. So, crowdfunding, therefore, is an alternative source of raising money without going to a bank. And I'm going to share with the listeners what crowdfunding is, as it is explained by Wikipedia. Crowdfunding is a practice of funding a project or a venture by raising small amounts of money from a large number of people, typically via the internet. Crowdfunding is a form of crowdsourcing and alternative finance. United States isetshenziswa kakhulu crowdfunding to start organizations. Nala South Africa seyaqala iba sebenzela abantu abaningi. It is basically friends helping friends. It is perfectly legal. Lisemthethweni crowdfunding. Akusiyinto esiqalayo kuyenza. Kudala siyenza crowdfunding. It's just that manje inikezwe igama lesilungu. Uma sisuka emakhaya ezilalini izikolo bezisakhiwa ilali yonke, isonto lizokwakhiwa ilali yonke, ibridge yonke, bonke abantu bazuza. Uma kuzovunwa ensimini wonke umuntu uyazi azosiza uvuna, everybody after that aphuma hambe nesaka lakhe lombila noba yini nayo levunwayo ngaleso sikhathi. I-cooperative economics ngamanye amazwi is actually the first economy which we were introduced to until kwangena the economics yamanje, where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. If uyaqaphela dala kahle kahle emakhaya ebengekho umuntu ohluphekayo ngenxa ye-cooperative economics, ngoba wonke umuntu bekwenza exchange yokudla, exchange yaloku naloku, and as a result into yokuhlupheka into ya today's economy. AbeSuthu ke banegama layo lento okuthiwa crowdfunding, bayibiza ukuthi ilitsima. Ababiza kanjalo kabeSuthu nabo la people getting together bayenza izinto kanye kanye. Kukhona ke i-sites which will enable you as an entrepreneur ukwazi crowdfunder. In other words, you will be able to have your crowdfunding project and you have a site that actually enables to collect the money for you. Thunder Fund is one, Kickstarter is one. Facebook has just also opened a crowdfunding site. PayPal has that, and as well as a company which is here in Johannesburg, something called Edabit. These are crowdfunding sites. There are a lot more. When you check, I just selected a few that I know they are very, very popular. So maune project onayo ufuna ukwenza crowdfunding, you can look at these sites ukuthi they are going to handle the collection of cash for you. Asichaze kancane i-crowdfunding. There are 6 types of crowdfunding. Engizoyichaza. Eyokuqala i-rewards crowdfunding. Rewards crowdfunding is basically used mainly by local organizations and new companies who are looking to pre-sell their product. For an example, you sell a book before it is published, which I will talk about it in a second. And the second type of crowdfunding is equity crowdfunding. It's a tool for business and entrepreneurs looking for investors and willing to give away equity in their company. Okay, eyokuqala leyokuqala ucela abantu mabacontribute imali kule nto uyenzayo, in return wena uzobanikeza okuthile. That's why ibizwa ngokuthi i-rewards crowdfunding. Le yesibini ucela abantu ukuthi abacontribute imali kule nto ufuna uyenza wena as a business person, and in return uzobanikeza ingxenye ye-business, a stake in the business. Business can utilize equity crowdfunding through sites like Fundable to grow and scale their businesses. Elandelayo ke ibizwa ngokuthi donations crowdfunding. Lena kungabantu who are putting in money for a certain cause, maybe cause a charity or maybe sonto. Usually it's a one-way, it's only donors, and then the one person benefits, which is the one that is donated for. Uyifune i-contributions uma abantu be-identify nalento ofuna imali for yona. That's the third type of crowdfunding. The fourth one is loan crowdfunding, where the donor receives money back with nominal interest. So in other words, uthi nginale project lana, ngizovula factory, ngidinga abantu bafake u100 rand each or 1,000 rand each. Uma sesihlanganisile le mali sifunayo yaqala ifactory, ngesikhathi ethile izobuya le 1,000 rand yakho, say no 100 rands ngaphezulu. ibizwa ke leyo ngokuthi yi-loan crowdfunding. Eyesihlanu yi-group social savings, where members of a community contribute into a common pot for a purpose of starting a business for one another. I know a few people who have started businesses this way. Bahlangana cishe ifana ne-stokvel, i-stokvel lapho abantu bahlangana bonke badecide ukuthi bazokwenza imali, so hlanganisa ama 20,000 and then 100,000 sihambe siyovulela ubani ibhizinesi ayifunayo. Ithini ibhizinesi oyifunayo bani? Cha, mina ngithanda ibhizinesi efana nale. Sizokusupporta ke, sizoyisupporta even nalento uyenzayo, sibe ama customers wakho, asiqhubeke ke sihlanganise lama 20,000 sinikeze omunye, 100,000 sinikeze nomunye kanjalo kanjalo. That's the fifth way of group social savings. I'll explain it slightly later. And then the sixth way is building a network of distributors. Le business ngikuyo, I will give you examples of people who have started businesses ngokuthi bengama distributors of another company, where one joins a company with necessary products and build a network of distributors for that company, but they get paid for that. So each of them one by one, and zothanda ukuqala nge-rewards crowdfunding. You see Babu Unchangas and all the participants here. When I authored the book in 2014, which is called 10 Your Monthly Expenses in Monthly Income, bengingenayo imali eyokuthi publish this book. So I didn't know where the money was going to come from. I know the topic yencwadi is good and many people are going to want to buy the book. So I created the cover right here on this page. And when I created this cover, Facebook, in fact, I was busy writing the book when I started selling the book just based on cover. I sold enough copies to raise over 50,000 rands, which enabled me to pay for all the cost of publishing. So in actual fact, I funded the project of the book from the proceeds of the book before even the book was available. And it is one form of crowdfunding. And I made a brochure that says you're gonna get it at a discount, buy it now, secure your spot, and people had an account to pay into. I was still busy writing the book. And as I was writing the book, as a result, it became a success. Lencwadi now has been sold to over 35,000 people in South Africa. Ukubangabana, I had focused on ukuthi anginayo imali yokuthi ngibhale lencwadi ngipublishe, mhlawumbe ibingeke ibe khona. So a lot of people banamaphupha, banezinto abafuna ukuzenza, but babanjezelwe into yokuthi bacabanga ngemali. Ikhona indlela yokwenza imali through crowdfunding. Uma ungazuyithola ebank, you can just find an ingenious way of raising the money. Here's another example right here on the slide of a company, Cape Town. This is a wine bar, Somerset West, owned by two gentlemen. They are based in Western Cape, Somerset West. They raised over 200,000 with a crowdfunding campaign. And the name of the bar is called Proof. The way they did it is that they went to everybody in the community and said, Sizokunikeza your first weak drinks or whatever at a 30% discount. Umangabana, you can contribute onto us building this pub. So they had their own reward in that way, and as a result, many of their friends, many of the people around where they stay, participated in this crowdfunding exercise to a point where they raised over 200,000. Abazange baye bank, abazange bayocela imali bank, okanye bayenze loan, which is a great thing. Here's another success la ezansi in the same slide of a company that did extremely well on crowdfunding. It's called Pebble e-paper wash for iPhone and Android. They are based in the US. They raised over 10 million through Kickstarter. Ngamanye amazwi ngezi examples nje uyabona enye mina u50,000 omunye 200,000 omunye u10 million US dollars. There is no limit on how much money you can get uma i-crowdfunding yakho and the crowdfunding campaign has been thought through very thoroughly and can be executed well. Ungakwazi uqala noba yiphi na business ofuna uyiqala. Into ebalulekileyo ukuthi makube khona if uzosebenzisa rewards crowdfunding, makube khona into ezokwenza abantu uba mabakusapote mhlawumbi ngenxa ye-reward onayo. In the case of Pebble, this was the first watch, and people wanted to be first in line. As a result, they oversubscribed. Some of the people, it took them for more than a year to actually get their watches. In the case of Western Cape, Lena, Somerset West, abantu, they wanted a place, Lape Somerset West, where they can hang out. They loved these two guys. They liked the fact that Bazo totally discount. So they were able, at least in the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks of a pub, so they were able to contribute for this project. Baza Bareza, this 200,000. In my case, Abantu wanted to be the first to get to that copy, and as a result, I was able to write the book and publish it. Very, very important. If there is amongst the 6 crowdfunding types, this is the most available, or this is the most used by entrepreneurs, but it varies in success based on ukuthi uyihlanganise kanjani na. So equity type of crowdfunding yona is where you go and say you go use some of these crowdfunding sites and you create an online profile and submit the funding campaign. And once you've created that, the crowdfunder or the platform learner reviews and approves the campaign. Equity is about shares. So kune considerations eziningi zasemthethweni efuneka zibe khona, because cishe uform company ungenamali, but le mali izovela kubantu who are participants or who are investors. So where now you want this money, but in return, you are going to give them equity or shares. So it usually works when there is an intermediary or a crowdfunding platform. Then you can launch a campaign and you do that, and then the company approves, making sure all the documentation in corner. You need to, as I said earlier on, have you must have a crowdfunding enabler, a crowdfunding platform that is helping you for equity crowdfunding. Then the next crowdfunding is donations crowdfunding. This is a one-way crowdfunding, which is usually used by churches and non-governmental organizations, like charity organizations. So one company that is also based in Cape Town, Espinaka, raised 11,200 crowdfunding. This young man is making bread that is stuffed with spinach. So he went to Thunder Fund to raise money, and then it was more donations, and he has his operation up and running through this type of crowdfunding. Again, it's not very popular unless somebody identifies with your project at an emotional level, because donations are one way, there is nothing that you get back. Rewards crowdfunding is two ways. You give me money as a participant in the campaign I'm raising money for, I give you something in return. Equity crowdfunding is also two-way. You give me money in what I want to raise money for, and in return, you give me a stake in the business. So that is one example. And then the next one is a loan crowdfunding, where the donor receives money back with nominal interest. Where you are a donor, you give a loan sum, and then that money will go into the project. And when the project is done, and then it becomes time for loan repayment, and when that loan is paid is with interest. There are sites that help you to do this, where you are going to get, there's a lot of people who have money who do not know what they can do with money. So they keep going to these sites that are crowdfunding, and they look at the project and they say, oh, okay, I have 10,000 US dollars. In us, 10,000 US dollars is, you multiply by 18, is 180,000. I'm prepared to put it into this project so that this project goes in, but I want 10% on top of that, which means that when you send it back, it will be $11,000. So that is how the loan crowdfunding works. Also popular. All of these crowdfunding systems have a different legal regimes. In other words, the law addresses them in different ways, and also the tax implications for them is in different ways. A loan crowdfunding would be similar to a tax regime of a bank. A donations crowdfunding, a tax regime would say you have a limit that you can get so much donations that are tax-free. Beyond that, they are taxable. Equity crowdfunding is seen as income. Not equity. The first one, which is basically rewards crowdfunding, is seen as income. So all of it is taxable in your hand. So you must pay attention to all of that so that was right with the taxman, you are right also with the law in whichever crowdfunding platform you choose. The next one, Ile Esiyaziyo Sibaningi. And this is your typical stokvel or organized around a common goal. Ukuze ke ibe properly done, they must have a constitution, there must be a credible executive team, a chairman, a secretary, and the treasurer, a bank account. It must also register with the National Association of Stokvels in South Africa, in short by NASASA. And also one other thing that I perhaps forgot to add into this it is important nowadays when you have a stokvel that is going to do something that is going to be big, you need to have a system, invest in a system that is going to make sure ukuthi lento nifuna ukuyenza yenzeke. Now, I'm not talking about stokvels zozohlula ngo-December. I'm talking about a group of friends who are now organized, who say, man, we want to maybe leave work, we want to start our own businesses. Wena uthanda ini, no mina ngifuna ukwenza i-bakery, wena uthanda ini. Asihlanganiseni ke siyenze le migalelwano okanye these contributions. Let's do it in this way. There's many ways. We actually give a lot of advice to people who want to come together and crowdfund that way. You can, for an example, buy products mhlambe nisithandayo at a discount of maybe 50% discount, sell them at 100%. In other words, you turning your 10,000 that you maybe put together into 20,000 in a short period of time. Take that 20,000 back, turn it into 40, take that 40, turn it into 80, take that 80, turn into 160 and 320. That is possible when you have a plan and you are clear of your plan and you have a system. We do give advice to a few people. In fact, I have a few stokvels that I've given them advice around health products that are very popular, where they came together, they put together 5,000 rands each, and they're buying this product and reselling it. Now, what they are going to do with the money, they're going to start their own businesses. It works. It must be an organized group social savings. Now, maybe abanye bebenkanga bacabanga ukuthi i-network marketing nayo is part of crowdfunding. I included it ngoba I actually have an example of a networker. His name is Ian Buchan, who is right in Hillcrest. He is the founder of the company called The Unlimited, which is situated in Hillcrest in Durban. He was 47 years old. He was unemployed, married with 2 little boys, staying in Cape Town at the time. And in a garage, he started working, and he joined Amway. He raised enough money to start The Unlimited, which is now the top 300 company in South Africa. Abanye mhlawumbe bangayazi The Unlimited, ile company ike ya sponsora iDuzi Marathon for some time, that is based in Hillcrest. This is, a lot of people do not have an understanding of the power of this phenomenon, where you can get into a business that has great products and a great plan and a great training system, and you get in and you raise enough money to start another business without you going to the bank. In fact, center to my book is actually to teach people how you can select a proper company. I'm not talking about companies with internet or as boxing or funda or genalana uzo fakimal uzobon. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about really properly constituted businesses where zingakufundisa ukuthi distributor lama products wethu wahambise ngalolu hlobo asiza lona and create a team, ikhuphule le team ngabanye bafundise nabo ukuthi bakhuphule team. As a result, within 3 to 6 months uzibone sohola o 50,000, uzibona sohola o 100,000 or 200,000, uwenza imali ezakwazi ukuthi uyibeke eceleni uqale ke manje elishishini lakho ofuna ukuliqala. This is what Ian Buchan did way back when he was 47 years of age. And I just wanted ukuthi mhlawumbi ngigcine lapho ngoba ngifuna ukuthi mhlawumbi kube khona nombuzo nawo ngimphendule lo mbuzo. Zizo indlela eziyi-6 which I am aware of, which I'm actually researching even further, as I have just been given a right to write a book by the National Library, which is entitled Crowdfunding 101. We will let you know when that book is up. Perhaps I will show you the book whilst I'm still writing, so maybe I can crowdfund for that book as well.